capacity kingdom. We're going to talk about capacity, and we're going to use this story, capacity kingdom, so that we can draw a picture that we can use later to help us while we're learning capacity and how many quarts and how many gallons and how many cups are in a gallon. Okay? Capacity kingdom. Capacity kingdom was once ruled by King Capacity, who loved his sons very much. He decided that when he could no longer rule Capacity Kingdom, he would divide his kingdom into half. Half will go to his son Larry Leader, and the other half will go to his son Gary Gallon. Today, we will learn the events at the castle that became the home of Gary Gallon. So who are we talking about right now?
Larry Leader.
We're going to talk about Gary Gallon. We're going to talk about what happened at Gary's half of the kingdom. Capacity Kingdom was ruled by the family that lived in Gallon Castle. There were a kind family who felt that everyone together should make sure that the village that surrounded the castle was a happy place. They always wanted the villagers to know what was happening in the castle. Little did they know. The people in the village that surrounded the castle often made fun of them. The villagers would draw pictures of the castle and often laughed at the family of Gallon Castle. The villagers always drew a large capital G to represent the castle when they would send notes, because they did not know how to read and write. So on the paper that you have in front of you, I want you to go ahead and draw a large capital G. Draw a large capital G on your paper. Okay? This large capital G is going to stand for what?
Gallon.
Gallon Castle. Okay? Gallon. The G is going to stand for gallon. Let's go ahead and keep going. Now, Capacity Kingdom was originally ruled by King Gallon. He was a kind man who had 4 lovely daughters. As he was nearing the end of his life, which means he was about to pass on, he decided that his daughters should all rule together after he died, because they were all born at the same time. He wrote a decree, which is a law, that said all 4 daughters would be queens and rule Capacity Kingdom and would live happily ever after in Gallon Kingdom. So here's a picture of his 4 daughters, which are all what? Queens. Most of the villagers could not write, and they wanted to spread the news. Since they didn't know how to write the words, they drew a picture, hoping everyone would know who would rule the country now that King Gallon had died. So we're going to go ahead and draw and add our cues to our paper. So I want you to take your crayon, and now we're going to write 4 capital Q's. Write your 4 capital Q's. So we have our capital G, that stands for what?
King Gallon.
Gallon Castle, Gallon. And we have our 4 Q's, that stands for our 4 queens. Or we can say it stands for our quarts, because that's our gallon. And we have quarts inside of the gallon. Each of the queens had a set of twins that lived in the castle with them. So Gallon Castle was filled with 8 princes and 8 princesses, playing while their mothers ruled the land. They all enjoyed doing the things that they wanted to do. Gallon Castle was not a calm and quiet place anymore. The villagers were thrilled about the queens having twins, but were concerned about all the people filling up Gallon Castle. They spread the word throughout the land of the fun-loving sets of twins so that everyone would know. What do you think we're going to do now?
Write peas.
We're going to add peas to our
Gallon Castle.
Okay, where are we going to put our peas?
Inside our cubes.
We're going to put our peas inside our cubes because each queen had
A queen, a prince, and a
a
princess.
princess and princess. our big capital G, which stands for gallon. And we have our capital Q's, which stands for the queens. And now we have our capital P's, which stand for our princes and princesses. Now, if we're thinking about capacity, that G is going to stand for gallon. And those Q's are going to stand for quarts. And our P's are going to stand for pints. P's are going to stand for pints. The four queens became aware that the people in the village of Capacity Kingdom were becoming concerned about the behaviors of the 8 princes and princesses. They agreed that 8 children were enough to ensure that Gallon Castle would always have a member of King Gallon's family living in it. Soon, the princes and princesses became bored and they wanted pets. The queens talked and decided that the children needed to learn some responsibility, and taking care of a pet would help teach them that. They decided that having dogs as pets will likely lead to the dogs barking and bothering the other villagers. What would they do? What are some things you think they could do? Keegan.
If the villagers had any cats or something, they would either fight with the cats or something.
Okay. Brandon?
Dogs chase the cats.
Okay, the dogs might chase the cats. So cats and dogs aren't going to be a good pet. Okay? So what are some other things that you think might be a good pet, Jadavian?
Goldfish.
A goldfish could be a good pet. Why would a goldfish be a good pet?
Because it doesn't make no noise.
It doesn't make a lot of noise.
And it's quiet.
It's quiet. It doesn't make a lot of noise. Okay, but we're talking about why we would get a fish. Why do you think a fish would be a good pet? Fish are easy to take care of. You don't have to take a fish for a walk. You don't have to clean up after a fish as far as in clean up fish poop. Okay? You do have to clean out the tank, but that's not hard to do. You don't have to feed a fish very often. So a fish would be a good pet. Let's keep going and see what they say. One of the princes said that she loved fish. She would have a fish as a pet. One of the princes said one of the princes wanted a penguin. But penguins eat fish. Immediately upon hearing the request for a penguin that eats fish, the princesses began screaming about his penguin eating her fish. The queens sent both children to their rooms and decided that they would have to come up with a plan. Suddenly, one of the queens had an idea. She told the other queens, we could give each child 2 cats. They could keep them in their part of the castle and everyone could have 2 pets. They all thought about it and they decided that it was a good idea. But each prince and princess could only have 2 cats. If there were any kittens born, they had to be given to the villagers. There could only be 2 cats for each prince and princess in the castle. Each prince and princess was then given 2 cats as a pet. There were cats everywhere. Cats in Gallon Castle? The villagers were really alarmed now. There were 16 cats, 8 princes and princesses, and 4 queens now living in Gallon Castle. They had to spread the news. Can you draw the message the villagers used to spread the news to Gallon Castle? What can we add?
C's.
We're going to add C's. We're going to put our C's inside of our P's. So go ahead and put 2 C's inside of each P. 2 C's inside of each P.
The C's mean cups.
The C's does mean cups. Okay? If we're talking about capacity, okay, G stands for gallon. The Q stands for quarts. The P stand for pints, and the C stand for
Cups.
Cups.
Get better, get better, and get better.
Gallon castle. 4 queens or 4 quarts. 8 princes, princesses, 8 pints, and 16 cats or 16 cups. 1 gallon equals 4 quarts equals 8 pints and 16 cups. Okay? Now let's talk about what our picture can help us do. How can we use this picture to read it so that it can help us with capacity? Okay? You've already told me that my G stands for gallon. So G is gallon. My Q is quarts. My P is for pints. And my C is for cups. Okay? So if I look at this picture can tell me that I have 4 quarts equals 1 gallon, because I have my big gallon and I have my 4 Q's inside of it. It also tells me that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 pints equals 1 gallon. It also tells me that 16 cups equal 1 gallon. What are some other things that this paper tells me? What is something else that it tells me? Brandon? Okay, 1 pint equals what's inside that pint?
A cup.
Okay, how many cups?
2.
2 cups. So 1 pint is equal to 2 cups. What else could it tell me? Josh?
1 gallon equals 16 cups.
1 gallon equals 16 cups. Yes, Keegan?
16 cups equals 1 gallon.
Okay, that's the same thing as that. 1 gallon equals 16 cups, or either 16 cups equals 1 gallon. They're both the same. They're equal. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and fill out this worksheet. After we fill out this worksheet, we're going to go ahead and put this worksheet inside of our science journals.
It'll probably be time to go.